The Bear has been popping off ever since it premiered, and its popularity has been growing even more since season 2 dropped not too long ago. I knew I wanted to watch The Bear ever since the trailer for season 1 released, but for some reason I didn't really get around to it. So I decided I wanted to just sit down and watch both season 1 and season 2 and give my opinions on it. So that's what I did. I sat down, I watched all of season 1 and most of season 2, and long story short, I think the show hits, and I get why a lot of people resonate with it. The Bear was created by a guy named Christopher Storer, and everything I've seen from the guy shows that he's pretty down to earth. He literally says that he's surprised that the show even got this popular, and it resonated with so many people. The other two projects you might know him for are shows like Rami and A24's 8th Grade. He was a director for a few episodes on Rami, and he was a producer for 8th Grade. But from everything I've seen online, it shows that he was pretty involved with both of these projects, and a lot of the production team for Rami he used for The Bear. So I definitely see it, because a lot of the ways that Rami and A24's 8th Grade got popular are a lot of the reasons why I think The Bear is as popular as it is. Chris is from Chicago, and The Bear is based off this restaurant in Chicago called Mr. Beef. And Mr. Beef was a restaurant that Christopher worked at when he was 19, and he decided that he wanted to make a show based on Mr. Beef. So after a while of holding on to the idea, he decided to make The Bear, which in The Bear, the restaurant is based on Mr. Beef, and it's called Original Beef. And he eventually got Hulu to rock out with the idea, and that's how we have The Bear. Without spoiling too much, The Bear is about a guy named Carmi Berzado, played by Jeremy Allen White. Jeremy Allen White was on Shameless, but Carmi was a high-end chef in New York City who got sucked back to Chicago to run his brother's beef restaurant after his brother died suddenly. Carmi had to go back to Chicago, and he has to take over his brother's restaurant, but his brother has like a lot of debts, and Carmi himself has a lot of trauma from working in New York City restaurants, high-end restaurants. So it's just a lot that's going on for Carmi, and I think the actor does a really good job on playing Carmi, showing a lot of the grief and a lot of sorrow, and also the stress of just running a restaurant that's not doing that well. And I gotta give a lot of props to everything involved in it, because I think it's really realistic in a way that a lot of shows right now aren't, in the way that they talk and the way that like grief and emotions conveyed. I also like two other standout characters. One of them is Sydney, played by Ayo, I'm gonna mess up the name, Edabiri. She plays Sydney, who's another chef that Carmi hired to run the restaurant. And I like the way she shows like this go-getter, but like sometimes anxious person, like the kind of new girl, because she's a new girl to the restaurant attitude, and I think it's pretty good. And the other person is Richie, played by Ebon Moss. I'll mess this one up too, Bacharach, and he brings like this funny kind of shifty guy attitude to the role, and I think it really works. I could definitely see somebody like real life like acting in the way that Jerry acts, and all the acting on the show from all the characters are great, and I think it makes the writing and the acting make this like top tier. I think the show really resonates with a lot of people because of like the rawness of the action, of the acting and the writing, and it makes it feel really realistic and like something that could happen in real life. And I feel like it goes off of the wave that shows like Rami and Atlanta, and to a lesser degree Dave, and the way that it feels like they really convey like emotion and real life scenarios in such a realistic way that a lot of shows don't. Like for example, when the people in the show like make mistakes, they don't really like fold. They like act embarrassed, and then they blame other people's, and then it's just pretty good. And they will stutter and hesitate in like different ways. That's pretty realistic, and a lot of shows try to cover that up and give like nice and clean takes. But in this show, they intentionally make it more realistic, and it shows how everything is run for the show. I also like the fashion and music in the show, top tier. Like that they wear a lot of like aesthetically pleasing outfits, and I'm pretty sure pretty good brands, but I'm not entirely sure about that. And the music is top tier. I think they use like Chicago, like native bands and rappers and artists from Chicago, and I really like it. So I'm near the end of season 2, and I have no doubt it's gonna end perfectly. Everyone says the season is great, and season 3 is gonna be great, and that's really it. Please like and subscribe. Watch one of the other videos if you enjoyed what this had to offer. Thanks.